So, due to the bad weather, I had a little time today, and I thought I would give you guys a first look at this Athlon Rangecraft Radar Chronograph that everybody's talking about. I did get this unit from the Athlon folks free of charge when I asked them if I could do a review on it, and doing this review for Sniper's Hide, as well as AR15.com and a couple other platforms such as YouTube, which is where you're probably watching this video. I've done a number of scope reviews with the Athlon folks in the past, and that includes Athlon, Midas Tax, and a few of their other lines. Always found them to have particularly good quality control, and they have a good reputation for warranty, and I've honestly found their optical performance in those reviews to be at least as good as you should be expected at the price points for those particular products. So been happy with them as a company before, and was very excited when I saw this new radar chronograph out there to compete with the Garmin, which, oh, look at that, I'll also have that with me. Garmin gave me a bit of a discount. I did a review on this as well, which I'll maybe link. If not, it's not hard for you to find it. So we'll talk a little bit about the size and weight of these first, because pretty close to each other, as you might expect. As you note, unlike the Garmin, Athlon comes with a very nice box. That was a complaint I had on the Garmin. Given that you're paying $600 for it, you'd think it would come with a box. So you can see side by side, very close in size. Garmin comes in at 3.7 ounces, 1.35 inches by 3 inches by 2.4. Athlon comes in at 4.4 ounces, 1.2 inches by 3.5 inches by 2.7 inches. And the software, when I talk about the shooting section, used in each of these for that particular shooting was 3.27 on the Garmin and 1.4061 on the Athlon. That's the original firmware for the Athlon, and it is not the original, nor actually the current on the Garmin. It's from about a month ago, something like that. That will become important later on. Menu system on these things is really similar to each other. When you're navigating it, it has almost identical feel, with the exception that unfortunately they've reversed the buttons. So the OK button is on the right side of the Athlon, on the left side of the Garmin, and the back button is on the opposite. So if you, this probably won't matter to many people, but if you used the Garmin a bunch and you use the Athlon, you're going to hit back when you intend to hit OK on a number of occasions. Other than that, the menu systems are really, really similar. The number of strings that you can hold is 50 for each, that kind of thing. Very, very similar. Also similar in the battery design. Both of them, unfortunately, don't take like an 18650, even though they could have fit one of them, like the 18650 from this headlight that lives in the truck. Unfortunately, they went with flat packs in both of them, and you had to disassemble them to be able to change the battery, which is an unfortunate choice. I would have liked them to choose better battery design than that. They both have software that interfaces with an app. In the case of the Athlon, the app is a little more in depth than the Garmin because it's actually a ballistic calculator, and you can actually hook that up and directly input your shots into a particular ballistic profile, that type of thing. I have not spent a lot of time with the Athlon app yet. Truth is, I pretty much hate apps, actually. I don't use them. I record my data on old-fashioned pen and paper when I finish getting it off these things, because I just don't trust apps at all. They don't have the longevity in general that I like for my record keeping. It's been my experience that if there's one thing tech people can be relied upon to do, it's constantly delete all of your data and change the app or outdate apps so that they're not usable anymore. Even in the case of, like, operating systems and stuff. So I don't love apps, but they both have apps, and the Athlon's is a little more in depth. Let's talk about range performance, because that's actually what you probably care about, right? So I've had them both at the range, just indoor for the moment. Eventually this one will get the kind of workout that this one has had at the long range and that sort of thing. But I just got it. It arrived to most reviewers sometime in last week. I got it like 5 days ago. So took it to the indoor range. That's really great for trying to see whether or not you have problems with cross lane readouts. Athlon did really great. Only picked up 2 shots from the neighboring lane. I repositioned it a little bit, didn't pick up any shots. Garmin was having problems with that all day. It picked up shots from as far as 2 lanes over. And that, honestly, is a new thing for the Garmin. When I had the original firmware on this, it did not have problems picking up shots from other lanes. It didn't pick up a single shot from other lanes first time I had it at the indoor range. So it's new firmware. It's not as good as the old one. I would really like to have the original back. I'm going to try to upgrade it to the 3.32. Actually, technically, I've already done that, but it was after the range session. Hopefully, it starts to perform like it used to perform, but the day that it was out with the Athlon, it was reading cross shots all the time to the point that it was very difficult to get comparable strings between the two. The Garmin was also dropping shots all day long. The Athlon didn't drop a single shot, even though it had actually the less advantageous position. It was not directly under the muzzle. It was a couple inches over. You know, they were side by side. This side by side, actually, not that side by side. But the Athlon did not miss a shot whole day between 22 long rifle pistol and some 9mm pistol. 9mm, for reference, is pretty easy for these things to pick up. It's big and it's fairly slow. 22 long rifle actually is kind of one of the more problematic things for radar chronographs to pick up. They don't like its bare lead, and they don't like that it has a concave rear end to it. It doesn't reflect things as well, and actually 22 is probably the hardest thing for them to read, outside of maybe, you know, north of 4,500 feet per second 17 caliber super hot things, which I don't even possess, so I can't test that. But I can test 22 long rifle, and this picked up at all of it, even fairly rapid fire. It was also a little faster reading shots shot to shot than the Garmin. So after you fire a shot, this one every time pops up the readout a little bit quicker than the Garmin. So I expect it's probably a little better when it comes to picking up shots that are in rapid fire. Now, some people have talked a little bit about the Athlon maybe reading some shots a little faster than it should read them. 20 feet per second is what I've heard from some of the other reviewers. I didn't have that come out in my data. I collected data. In the end, I could only get 3 shot strings that both of these had exactly the same data on, 2 20s and a 5-shot string, because unfortunately the Garmin missing things, picking up the wrong things. A lot of shot strings got messed up in there, but I got 3. They were all the same data. There was no systematic of either of these two reading faster than the other one. On the averages, twice the Garmin read faster, and once the Athlon read faster. They had standard deviation was actually lower on all 3 for the Athlon, which bodes well for its overall accuracy, because since errors stack, you would expect that a unit that has more error, once that stacks with the actual error shot to shot in your velocity, that would end up with an overall larger SD and a larger extreme spread. But it was actually lower in all cases on the Athlon. Not by much. I think it's probably just noise in the data, but it does show you that at least it's definitely not going to be a lot worse, right? Because they're pretty close. And like I said, I did not see velocities being out of line between the two of them. Looked about the same. So that bodes real well for the Athlon. Its performance was clearly better than the Garmin on this first range day, both in terms of picking up what it should and not picking up what it's not supposed to. And in the data accuracy, they were pretty close to each other, right? Cost and tariffs, this thing, it was originally supposed to be $350 when it was released at SHOT Show. Ends up $400 because of the extra tariffs, but $400 is a lot less than $600, right? So right now it's looking like absolutely it's the good buy, and it also comes with the really nice case, which is a super nice advantage over the Garmin, where you have to pick up that later. I hope this helps you guys make a decision and gives you some idea how these are actually performing. Later on, I plan to do a full review on the whole thing, but I figured you might want some data out quickly here within a week of this thing launching to let you know how it's doing. Hope that helps you, and I'll see you next time.